Oh, snap. Ladies and gentlemen. I was just sitting here thinking about the first episode of this podcast that I ever uploaded. The first podcast that I had ever done. I was sitting in a McDonald's cafe uploading episode 1 over their Wi-Fi. It took like 3 hours. And I remember thinking, like, why am I even doing this? There's no way this is gonna be a thing. There's no way this is ever gonna go anywheres. And here we are, sitting at episode 100. So welcome to episode 100 of the SmithSquad Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe we've done 99 more of these things. It's stupid. I was in high school. I was a high school senior when I started the podcast, and now we're sitting here. I just finished my second year of university. So it's been over 2 years this thing's been running, and guys, who do we have on today? Who's our guest? No one is our guest, because actually, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people asking this and stuff, and I wanted to kind of talk about this for just a quick sec before we hop into the actual show, is that people were saying, like, you need to get the greatest guest of all time on. You need to get, like, City Kid or, like, just some huge YouTuber on. And, I considered getting a really big guest on for this episode, and I thought, you know what? We started our roots as a solo podcast, and I was like, you know what? I think that would be the best way to go about doing this. Yes, we're gonna get the Z House guys on. We're gonna get a lot of big YouTubers on over the summer and moving forwards. But this thing started as a solo podcast, and I wouldn't feel right not touching roots to that in a little way. So yeah, welcome to the SmithSquad Podcast, episode 100. Today, guys, I want to talk about. Oh my goodness, it's hot. It's already hot in here. I want to talk about positivity. I want to talk about life, and like this is just gonna be like a really deep episode, because I was thinking about what is the podcast? What is the purpose of this podcast? Over the last 100 episodes, what have we achieved? What have we done with this? What can I take away from this that I feel like has been a success? And I think the number one thing to me that has stood out about the podcast and what it really stands for is inspiring others. I think that's been the biggest thing about this podcast is I get a lot of people. I remember when I last meetup I went to, a lot of people saying that like the podcast has really inspired them and really given them motivation in life. And it's great to be like a YouTuber and make entertaining videos and all that stuff and live stream, and obviously I love that. But I think there's a bigger message about it all. There's a bigger thing, a bigger takeaway that is, if I can actually give back to people in a way that makes them want to improve their own lives, right? There's being entertained, but then there's actually getting to the point where you can actually help people and make them want to do better and move forward and strive to achieve whatever goals they have in life. I think that's a really cool thing. And I think looking back on the last 100 episodes, if there's anything that I've done, I want to say it's that. And maybe I'm completely mistaken, and maybe this is just something that's nice to listen to while you're at work or something, or doing your exercises or going for drives and all that kind of stuff on your way to school or your commute to work or whatever. But I really do think that is kind of been a big part of the podcast. If you look at a lot of the episodes and a lot of the episodes that we've gone back through, it's been a lot about just life. And that's something that I'm really passionate about and really interested in. And I feel like recently in the world, there's been like just so much outlook on negativity in like the world with like shootings going on and mass murders and all this stuff. But also here on our home base on YouTube, there's so many people that it's just like recently everyone is 2016. It seems like it's the year of like everyone just wanting to hurt to detriment others for their own gain, and that's something that's really shitty to see. But I don't think this year has been anything different. I think it's just been more reported on. I think this last year, you see so many dramas, as people like to say. I think there's been so much going on that people are wanting to report on because they think it will benefit them and it'll push their career forward. But really, it's not helping anyone. And like I said, that's something I feel like the podcast has been a thing for is positiveness, positivity, and optimism, and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I wanted this to be about. So I'm just gonna open my window because it is like stupid hot right here. Just give me like solid 5 seconds. There we go. Okay. I was gonna try to do this with my window closed. I've been trying to stream with my window closed, but this room just gets cooking. This room just gets cooking because we are, like I said, we are in California, and that's one of the craziest things, man, with this whole YouTube. Is the Z House is this thing that, like, I can't even believe that we're sitting here in the Z House. Like, I can remember looking back in October, believe it or not, I was considering this trip. I was considering going away for the summer to just focus on YouTube. I can remember going back and basically just having this really, really, like, heart to heart with myself, just thinking, like, do I really want to leave, like, everybody in my life, my friends, my family, my non-existent girlfriend at the time, and just everyone that I know, to go off for YouTube? And I thought, you know what, like, I think so. Like, I'm from the East Coast, and East Coast is a very rootsy thing. Like, if you live like where I live, I feel like most people are very rooted to the East Coast of Canada. Like, it's just a very traditional kind of like cool vibe place, and people you meet there, like, last you a lifetime of friendship. But I thought, you know what, in the long term of life, like, it's something that these are things like, this could never happen again. These moments in life that you get, like, a crazy opportunity, something like being able to go to California for 2 months just to make YouTube videos and just, hang out with some YouTubers and just kind of like, almost kind of like a vacation, but like not really at the same time. It's like, it's such an opportunity, and I think you're always going to find a reason to not take these opportunities. And I honestly, like, as crazy as it sounds, like, it's so easy to look at me and just be like, oh, like, gonna go to California for 2 months. Like, who wouldn't take that opportunity coming from Canada? That's like, obviously that's an easy decision, but you're always gonna find resistance in those things, those opportunities you get, whether it be like, scared to, like, just leave your friends and family, or scared just to make a big move in life, or, as J. Cole says in one of his songs, that it stood with me for so long. It's like, scared to fly, right? And it's one of those things, like, you're always going to find resistance in even the best of opportunities. And I just remember October, there's like 8 months ago, still like worrying about it and being like, do I want to do this? And that was like, I was like, you know what? This is something that I just got to go for. This is something good for me as a person, and also just good for YouTube, and just like a nice, cool experience. So anyways, 8 months later, here we are. 8 months later, as I'm like cooling myself off in this ridiculously hot house in California, we are here in the Z House. And that was one of the things, is a lot of people wanted me to do episode 100 with the Z House, and I really did think about it, but Lex and Matt are here yet, and I was like, well, 60% of the Z House, that's just not it. So I think we'll do next week with the Z House. But getting back to it, like, I feel like I wanted this episode to be about positivity, about like a positive episode, and just kind of like focus on some cool stuff. And like I said, it seems like in 2016, people are so focused on exposing people. Like in our nest of the woods, the YouTube, like, people are so focused on just like silly stuff in the grand scheme of life, right? Like, I'm so outraged that this YouTuber would do this and this YouTuber would do that. And, that's fine to be upset with people, and that's fine to think, like, I don't like this person, I think they're a scumbag. But I think the problem is there gets to a point with people in any outlet of life, any area of life, that it gets to the point where it's not even about morals anymore. It's not even about upholding, a positive community, but people just wanting to gain benefits for themselves. And I don't know, because I think about it, and I think, like, it's really easy just to be like, okay, oh my god, there's so much bad stuff happening in the world. There's so much bad stuff going on, like shootings and all the stuff I was saying before. But is it really that there's more bad stuff going on in the world today, or does it just get reported on more? And that's like the thing with like the media and all that stuff is like it's really easy to think that the world is like a terrible place when you only go to news outlets that give you information about terrible events, right? There's only so much bad stuff in the world, but obviously the bad stuff is what people flock to and they look at, and it sucks. Like I'm not, it happens and it sucks, but that's only one side of life, right? And that's what gets reported on. But there's so much more to that, and I feel like right now in life people are so like stuck on this, and it's just I see it all the time on YouTube, and it upsets me so much. So many people just like so focused on so much negativity. And the thing I was talking about this on Twitter last night is like as deep as this gets, realistically, is like you're just a human being. You're just a person on a rock for a temporary amount of time. You're here for 80 years if you're lucky. You're lucky enough to be born in the craziest time of the earth, where we have all this insane stuff going on and all this insane like technology and just connectedness and consciousness and all this stuff. And you're gonna spend your brief little blip of time on here just completely wasting it worrying about other people and being outraged that other people are doing silly stuff. And it's so stupid. Like it is so stupid, because that's the thing is people we get so invested in like just the us and the very very now. And like it's good to be in the present moment, but I think people kind of like forget that whole people forget that like the grand outlook on life, like oh, like I'm so like I gotta make money and I gotta like impress people and all this stuff. And you can spend your whole life doing that, and like I say, like your little blip on this planet, like 80 years seems like a lot when you've only lived for 10 or 20 or 30, but it really is a little blip in time, that existence that you have. And if you really want to spend it wasting on stuff that doesn't matter, I mean, I could just imagine like looking back after 80 years and being like, dang, like why did I spend so much time learning about that? And I even think about that now. I think I talked about this before the podcast, but like airplanes for me, like I hate traveling, but I don't mind flying. I really do not mind flying at all. It doesn't scare me. Like there's no problem with flying. I think statistically you're more likely to die in a car crash than flying. But I had like the scariest, like I don't think I've ever been so much so thinking I was gonna die. Like we've all probably had experiences where like I might die right now. Like I was talking with Jack, he's in the Z house, and he was saying he was surfing one time and he thought he saw a shark go under him, and it was a dolphin. He's like he thought he saw a shark, and he's like, I'm dead. We've all had those kind of experiences where like, all right, I'm gonna die. And I was flying back from my Austria trip when I had just done the Drives and Drac video in real life. And I was like, I remember we had like the worst turbulence I've ever experienced. And I've flown quite a bit. And it wasn't like that it was turbulence up in the air. It was like we were about 100 feet from landing and the wings were like, whoa. And I remember looking at seeing this wing, and I was like, all right, that's it. We're dead. And I'm like, all right, like we're gonna crash. It's gonna go black. Like I was like so ready to die, and I was like, dang. Like I wasn't like I'm going to die, but it was like I'm ready to die right now. Like this could just be it. And I was like, dang. And I don't even know where I'm going with that. Like what? I'm ready to die, but like it was like one of those things where I was like, damn. Like if that was it, that was it. The blip is over. Like I don't know. I look back and I was like, man, like I just like it was like a really like good experience. Like there was like life or death experiences where not really like I was in a lot of danger, but makes you think about your life in a. This is why we can't have nice things, but one of those things that just to kind of put a perspective on your life, like kind of let you step back a little bit and be like, all right, did I have any regrets? And I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm happy. I think the only thing that, like, my biggest thing that, and I'm aware of this all the time, is that I spend so much time worrying about the outcomes of things, and a lot of the time I end up letting that take me away from what's actually happening. So, like, for example, just coming here, like, I was so worried about coming to the States and just, like, getting everything done and, you know, getting all my stuff shipped, getting my computer sent off and everything. And, like, to me, it was just a week of just worrying and just worrying about a thing that's a week away. And, you know, it was my last week home. I got to see all my friends and all my family and all this stuff. And, you know, just to spend all that time, like, worrying, wasting that time, you know, way out of the present moment. I'm a week ahead, but like that, a week that away, I'm thinking a week out, a week ahead that doesn't even really exist right now, wasting the time that I do have with, like, my friends and family. And it's just like, that's my biggest, I think, regret in life, and my biggest flaw that I have self-identified with is that it's so easy for me to look ahead. Like, I'm such a planner, and I think that's good in some ways because I think it's helped my YouTube channel. I think it's helped who I am and, like, growth and stuff like that. Like, I remember going off to university, my biggest fear, my biggest, like, motivation was not to get fat. I was like, I don't want to get fat when I go to university. I was like, oh my God, I got to exercise once I get there and all that stuff. And, like, it's good to, like, prepare and, like, know what's coming, but a lot of the time you can't really know what's coming. And at the end of the day, you know, I worried so much about getting to the States and getting settled in and, you know, making sure I shipped all my stuff and everything. And at the end of the day, it ended up being fine. Had no problems. So, you know, my computer's fine. Little scratched up, but whatever. You know, I got here one piece, didn't miss any flights. You know, nothing bad happened. But I spent like a week worried about it. It's so easy to just get out of that. And we are getting rated by Pizza. Hi, Pizza. What's up? Welcome to SmithSquad Podcast episode 100, man. This is You're taking me out of my thoughts, Pizza. I completely forgot what I was talking about. I completely forgot about what I was talking about. We are on iTunes, by the way, guys. I don't know, is this like a mid-break ad or something? I don't know what I'm doing. But that is something I keep forgetting to mention. I've done a video on it. But we are on iTunes and Google Play Store now. So if you haven't yet, you should go check it out. Download the podcast over there. Leave a 5-star rating. Hook it up. Make us be like a super legit podcast and, like, go love us and all that stuff. So we are on iTunes. You can go check that out. And this episode will be up a couple hours after the show. But we're not done yet, okay? We got more deep inner workings of my mind, because, guys, as Patrick Starr once said it, the inner workings of my mind are an enigma. I don't even know what that means. What is an enigma? Enigma defined: a puzzling or inexplicable occurrence or situation. The inner workings of my mind are an enigma. I don't know. Sometimes I just think, man. Sometimes I think, and I just get on a tear, and I think and think and think and think and think. Oh my God, what do I even want to talk about? I had so many, like, crazy thoughts last night. I was tweeting and I was going off, and I was like, this is gonna be gold for the podcast. And okay, totally just changing gears, like, out of nowhere is like nothing, but it's okay. This is going to get deep, okay? I don't even know how to explain what I'm about to say, but I'm going to do my best to explain my understanding of life and the inner workings of the universe. Okay, maybe not that much. But, okay, I was thinking about this, okay? So, think about everything around you right now. Your desk, your laptop, your phone, your chair, not your hair, your clothes, everything around you, okay? Think about everything around you, and realize that none of that is conscious, right? Obviously, like, there's nothing around you that is conscious. Everything is just matter, right? It's different atoms and different elements and all this stuff, and it builds to make a keyboard or whatever. And we've shaped these things to be and do tasks for us and all this stuff. And these tools basically around us. Rocks are similar, right? They're just matter. They don't think. Rocks don't think, obviously. Okay, we could probably I probably didn't need to explain that in depth, that rocks don't think. But as you go up the matter thing, so it starts with like just basic elements, is like helium and hydrogen and oxygen and lead and all that stuff, and gold and silver and iron and everything. And then these things merge together, like carbon, they merge together to make graphite and diamonds and whatever, and then they merge together and you can somehow make plastic and make cell phones, and then eventually somehow you get this organic matter that makes plants. And then this organic matter somehow makes microorganisms, like single-celled organisms. And then these single-celled organisms are somehow like little organisms, like little fish, and then mice, and then frogs, and then cats, and then dogs, and then dolphins, and then eventually we get to humans. But on on that whole spectrum, right, of starting with like literally not just matter, just stuff, a rock, to single-celled like organisms, to more advanced life, to us, there's a point there, okay, where I was saying this on Twitter, like there's a point there where self-awareness becomes a thing, right? A point where self-awareness, where consciousness starts. And you could say like, is like what form of life does that become a thing at? Is it like a frog? Like, is a frog self-aware? Does a frog know that's a frog? Or is it just genetically programmed to be a frog, right? If you look at something like an insect like an ant or a bee, insects are like, it's like they're almost like it's like they almost are just like AI in a sense, right? Like ants, for example, they just do them, and they just have all this crazy stuff, and they just know what to do. But at some point where you get like to bigger animals, it gets to the point where I guess it's only really people that are self-aware, that like a person is able to identify that a person is a person. Like, and they're able to identify themselves and think about themselves in a manner that is not just necessarily like, I need food, I need this, I need that. But what makes that? Is that just, a lot of people will say like, that is just actions in the brain. And I guess, yeah, it is technically just like different neurons firing in the brain. But what makes that consciousness? Like, what makes that level of understanding that is so much different from any other thing in the universe? Okay, this is like what I was getting at. I was like, wanted to go deep, but I was thinking about this, is like, I was saying, like, the matter that you are, like, you're made of a lot of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen and some other stuff. Like, that could probably form to make like a tree, or like something like a rock, or like, you could be a rock, you could be like the carbon, and you could make a diamond. But for some reason, it formed the right way, obviously like through genetics and DNA and stuff. Here's a big meat sack and flesh, and it's aware of itself. Nothing else in the universe that we know of is capable of that. Like, there's nothing else that's concrete out there. Like, a rock doesn't know it's a rock. This doesn't know this. Why is a person, like, how does that even happen? How does that consciousness come from? How does that self-awareness, like, where does that originate from? And this is kind of like, I was listening to another podcast with Russell Brand on Joe Rogan. It was super deep. And like, that was kind of the idea of like, where does that consciousness come from? And is consciousness like the ultimate thing of everything? Because it's that self-awareness, right? Is it just a simple thing that our brains are so advanced that they are able to kind of tune into that? And that's like the coolest thing ever, is people will say like, there's like kind of a theory that your brain is almost like a radio, and the radio is advanced enough that it's able to tune in to like the frequency of actually being aware of itself. I have no idea, but it's such like that's such a it's such a crazy thing. It's almost as dolphins, like, are dolphins self-aware? We are all only aware of ourselves. When do we become self-aware? That's another, like, extremely important thing is at what point do you become self-aware? Because as a baby, when you were just born, you were not self-aware. You didn't know you were a baby, and you don't even have the memories to think about that you were a baby, right? You don't even have the memories. But at some point, that consciousness came in. And I remember my very first memory is when we were moving. I was 2 years old. We were moving from one house to another, and I remember seeing my brother grab the vacuum that we're just packing up. That was like the first memory. So was that when I became self-aware? Because even at that point, that's my first memory. But I wasn't even at the point where I could think, oh, I'm a person and I know this and stuff. But I don't know, man. Someone also says dolphins are self-aware, and I think this is another one on the Joe Rogan podcast. Someone says dolphins. Dolphins are a thing. Like I forget what podcast it was. It was definitely Joe Rogan. Basically, dolphins is like a thing that it's like dolphins are dolphins self-aware? Like, I have no idea. Are dolphins self-aware? I have absolutely no idea. People are saying that dolphins are self-aware. I can believe it because a lot of people are saying dolphins. And that makes sense because like I've seen dolphins at like SeaWorld, which is like, I feel like not like the most legit way to see a dolphin, but yeah, a lot of people talk about that there's something more to a dolphin, that they are self-aware. But is a dolphin as smart as a person? Probably not, right? So again, there's a level maybe, and maybe we're beyond that level of, like we're very aware, and maybe a dolphin I guess a dolphin perhaps knows that it's a dolphin. And someone was saying, like, I think it was Aubrey Marcus on Joe Rogan, how dolphins are, like, being a dolphin is like the perfect existence because you're self-aware and you have a lot of free will. The point where like you can make decisions and you can have fun and you can have sex with it. Like dolphins like just have sex because they like having sex, same as people. But with a dolphin, you're not so self-aware that you get caught up and dragged down. And I think I was saying like that's what a lot of people do, is that we get so caught up, and maybe that's just the thing of like how we live in our culture and all that stuff. But that is definitely a thing of how we get so caught up in everything. It's so easy to get caught up in day-to-day life and worry about something that's going to happen a week from now. And to worry about something that's going to happen a week from now is the stupidest thing. And like I am so guilty of this. Like I am just so like anxiety prone type of person. It's just to think about, what's going to happen in a week? Oh, what if this doesn't go work? No, shut up, Pat. Like, that's a week from now. If it happens, it happens. Great. If it doesn't, you'll deal with it. But if there's nothing you can do about it at this very present moment, just worry about right now. And I think that's something that I like so much about making YouTube videos and being on YouTube, is it's something that requires like so much of my attention. I can't like half-ass making a YouTube video. I can't half-ass doing a live stream. Like it's like I'm on, I gotta be on, and I gotta put my full effort into this. And I love things that take my full effort. And I've been swimming the last few days here at the beach and stuff, and it's like I never really enjoyed swimming at the beach before. Like I'm more of a lake guy. But I've been loving the beach, and it's just like a nice place. Obviously, like beaches are great. Like it's not like that's like a new discovery. Everyone likes beaches, but I don't know. Like it's just those things that take your full focus are really good, and I think they're really good for you. I think they're really cool because the mind doesn't do well if it's like left without work. If you leave your mind too long to just wander with no real stimulation, like I get so just like bored and so done with it, man. I mean I'm a pretty busy guy, but I was just thinking actually last night I finished live streaming at about 5:00 here, and I didn't have anything to do, and I was like, I couldn't remember the last time I was at a point where I had nothing to do. Like usually it's like I have something, or I could talk to someone or hang out with people. I was like, whoa, this is weird. And I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like having free time. I like having a full plate of things I like doing, but at the same time, I don't want to be so full that, no negativity here, bro. We got no negativity here. We're just on that positivity train, man. Positivity train. What is this stream? I could have made a thumb, but I am not. The thing is sometimes I wish I was a dolphin. I I just completely lost my train of thought. I was gonna go for another episode and then another topic, another just terrible jump. But oh, okay, man. These are all ideas that like I feel like these ideas are things like I get a lot of ideas from other people and expand on them. But again, this is again from Bobby Marcus. This has just been like me like reciting stuff from Joe Rogan podcast, but putting my own twist on it. Which I guess it's good to at least mention that I did it, because then, actually, that's the thing I want to talk about. I'm gonna leave that other thing for a second. But that's the thing is like I was just saying, like I was literally just like worried about like being like a copier in my head. I was like, like I don't want people to think that I'm just like taking ideas from other people. And that's the biggest problem with creativity in our world right now, is that people are so sensitive to copying. And there is such a big difference between copying and taking inspiration from, and taking an idea and building upon it, right? People like they will look at a topic or a video you do and be like, oh, well, someone's already done this, so you stole it from them. And that is the most toxic mentality you can have for as creativity goes, as far as innovating goes, and as far as taking a new idea, running with it, and improving it goes. Because if everything in the world, if you came up with an idea and you were the only person that was allowed to run with that idea, create from that idea, or do work with that idea, the world would be nothing. Like, there would be literally nothing, right? And people will so often say, like, you stole this idea from this person, you did this, you took this idea, you took this. And like I said, that's such a negative mentality, because the problem is we, like, the problem originates from the idea that everything is original. Nothing is original. Because if you think about it, everything that you think, everything that you are made up of, everything that you basically, every thought you have is basically an influence, a soup of all the information that you've taken in throughout your life, right? Like, that stuff I was just talking about, like, that didn't just come from me. Did that come from really anybody? You know, I could say, like, oh, like I was saying, like, that one thing, I was like, oh, I got that from the Joe Rogan podcast. Well, the people that talked about it on that podcast, that didn't just appear in their head. Like, that would have come from another person, and maybe they worked on that idea, and then I threw my little pitch into that. And it goes back and back and back and back and back. And the problem is that everything you think, everything you talk about is just kind of the coming together of everything you've ever experienced in your life. And the problem is that's the exact same thing for every single person. So if I get an idea from someone, and that idea from them came from every experience they've ever had, well, every experience they've ever had has come from people who have also, do you see what I mean? Like, who have also been influenced by every experience that they've ever had, and every piece of knowledge they've ever gained from another person who's been experienced by, right? It goes on and on and on and on. And then you quickly realize that, you know, we're all kind of in this together as far as like creativity and inspiration and moving forward goes. And like I said, J. Cole, I like J. Cole, man. He says it in his Forest Hills Drive album, in his credits part. He says, like, you are inspired by the world. Let the world be inspired by you. That is so powerful, dude. That is such a powerful quote. Everyone, I think it's safe to say, has taken inspiration from someone before. I mean, for me on YouTube, like, the first YouTuber that I ever really took inspiration from was a guy by the name of Mercadurka, or X Capone. Back in the day, he did zombies videos, and I really liked his content, and that was what inspired the SmithPlays channel. Like, literally, like, that single YouTuber basically was the guy that kind of started it for me. And from that, right, so, like, he taught, like, I remember watching his zombies videos, and he'd just talk, and I said, oh, that's really cool. That inspired me to go forwards, right? So a guy did a thing, and it inspired me, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to do something similar to that. And that acted as kind of like, that acts as a launch point, that inspiration moment where you see someone doing something cool. That acts as a launch point for you to see, this guy's doing something really cool. I like that. It's possible. I'm going to do that. But the thing is it doesn't end there. It doesn't end as I'm going to be an exact recreation of what this person is doing. Often you'll hear like YouTubers talk about that. Is like, I started like, I was inspired by this guy, and I started doing this, and then I moved into what I do, right? And I think that is the thing, is like you let the world inspire you. You let someone inspire you. You let them come in and like do that. But then it goes both ways. It's like, if you really take that inspiration and run with it, right? Like I started my channel doing like challenge videos where I cut it up into like 4 or 5 pieces and upload them throughout the week. And I do like story time videos, which I still sometimes do. Like just actually, now that I think about it, my channel is very similar to when I started it. I definitely did a lot of like story time stuff, like hater blockers, that kind of stuff. Just like gameplay, talking over it. That was basically my channel. And even the evolution that it has become, I mean, I wouldn't say it's been an insane evolution, but if you look at my first 50 videos to my last 50 videos, there's definitely been a huge improvement and definitely a huge thing. So like, there's that inspiration, and then take it and run with it. And it's cool, like I said, that I get people say they take inspiration from me all the time, and it's so insane to think that, because like I said, I was literally just a guy getting inspiration from someone else, and the fact that I can pass that on to someone else is a super cool thing going on there. And like I said, it all just comes down to we're all just kind of on the same different level, but we just get different information from different places, and you're just a summation of everything you know. But the thing is, as I was to be like, well, I got inspired by someone and I did videos, and then, even guys like Lex was like, yeah, man, you should do top 5. And I took top 5s. I was like, all right, I'm going to do top 5, a SmithPlays top 5, which is different from a Mr. T Lexify top 5, which is different from the top 5s you see now today. If I was to been like, I remember the hundreds of people that asked me, hey, man, can I do a top 5? Which, to begin, is not even an original idea. Like, that's like a list. A list is not an original thing. But, so many people ask me, can I do a top 5? If I'd have been standing there like, oh, everyone's copying my videos, I do top 5s, and now everyone else wants to do them. How ignorant, how arrogant of anyone to say that, oh, you're copying my videos, right? Like, how just ridiculous is it of anyone to say that, oh man, like you can't do what I'm doing because it's my own idea. Like, no, for me, there's nothing on my channel that you couldn't recreate in your own way that I would consider you copying from me. Now, if I said maybe like, if your last name was, I just want to go with a real casual name, and I was gonna say Smith, but my name's Smith. Real casual last name. Let's say John Smith. Let's say what's a real, I can't even think of a last name. I'm just gonna grab someone from the chat. Barnes. Okay, Barnes. Graham Barnes. I'm taking your name. Okay, let's say a guy by the name of Barnes. He wants to do a podcast. He says, I'm gonna name it the SmithSquad Podcast. I mean, I'd be like, all right, like, that's not really the most original name. But even at that level, it's not like I can be like, no, like, you can't do that, right? It's just things like, looking at my entire channel, and it really would be a stretch for you to copy my videos. I even think, like, I think the biggest thing is not crediting where credit is due. I think that is probably the most important part, is always to credit your inspiration. If you have an idea, it is really good to credit that, because if you don't credit that, then I don't know, it's just kind of one of those douchey things to do. But I just joined. What's up, Blue Reaper? But anyways, Johnson, Watson, Johnson, Harkson, Johnson. Everyone's saying Johnson. That is a pretty common last name. Brown, the Brown Squad Podcast, the 100 Plays. Jones. There you go. Anyways, you see what I'm saying. Miller. Okay, thank you guys for the recommendations, but we got Barnes. Anyways, so yeah, like, well, basically the whole idea is your ideas aren't special, and it's more the take you put on it than the actual idea itself. And I think that's what a lot of people get into, is they think like, my idea, like I have this great idea for a new business. I have this great idea for a new, YouTube channel, this great idea for this, that, and the other thing. And man, like, your ideas are pretty worthless. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, people think like, I have this great idea. An idea is like, I think there's a good quote of that. It's like ideas are 1%, or like success is like 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. It's like, yeah, like an idea is almost worthless. Like an idea is like the foundation. It's like, okay, you have a foundation to build a tower. Like, great. You don't have a tower. You have an idea. You don't have a successful thing. You just have an idea. And people think like, oh, I've got this really great idea for like this new startup, or I'm going to start this new website, or I'm going to start this new YouTube channel, this, that, and the other thing. It's a really good idea. That is great. But your idea is shit all without the effort you're going to put into it. Your idea doesn't matter. Any single person could have come up with your idea. Because if you came up with it, it means that it exists. It's a thing, and if it exists, the mind can come up with it. Anyone could have come up with your idea. Someone probably else has come up with it before. It doesn't matter. You got to put the time in. And it really is, like I said, it's 99% about the effort, right? I think the best example of this is the top 5 like gaming channels. Like, actually we hit top 5 Central on Novera on recently. And I was like, I remember when I first started the whole top 5 thing on my channel, I remember just thinking like, after 6 months, I was like, man, if someone took this and did it with gaming, like related to gaming, it would do so well. And Tommy's taken a really interesting twist, because a lot of focus of it is on like gaming community. So like top 5 saddest moments on Twitch, that kind of stuff, which I think is really, really cool. But, like that, I remember having that idea. It's like, oh, dude, just a top 5 gaming channel. But that idea didn't mean anything. Like, anyone could have gone with that idea. And I remember like just thinking like, I wonder who will be the person that really takes that idea and runs with it. There's a lot of like top 5 channels out there now, because top 5s do incredibly well. But again, that idea is absolutely it's absolutely nothing. Like, don't think that you are successful, or don't think that you are special, or that you're good at all, that you're doing anything just because you have a good idea. Ideas are just a starting point, and you need ideas. They're important, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not going to put the work in it. It's so important, man. Like, people ask me all the time, like, Pat, how can I start my YouTube channel, and how can I go with this, and how can I, I want to be like you, which is such a silly thing to say. But trust me, you don't want to be like me. But just to be like, how do I make a successful YouTube channel, man? The only like real advice I give people, because I think it's the only advice I can give people, is I say just work hard. It's like, it's bad if like I feel bad when I send that to people, because I'm like, man, that's like, it's not a lot of information, but it's the only thing I can say is just put the time in. Like, for me, that was my entire YouTube channel. I started probably 2008, and I had a channel that didn't work, and then another channel, and then another channel, and I tried at it. But for the SmithPlays, I remember like 2 or 3 months in, I just sat down and I was like, right, I'm going to basically put content on my channel every single day. That was my way of doing the best I can, is uploading every single day to my channel. And whether it be like a top 5 or just a gameplay video or a podcast or whatever, I want to get content to people every single day. One, because I think that keeps my channel really relevant, and I think that keeps people wanting to come back, and it really is a good way to be for your viewers. But to me, the idea was that if I'm making a video every single day, after a year, I'm going to have made at least 365 videos. Whereas if the next guy to me is uploading even every second day, which is a lot, they only have 180 days of experience. So I have twice as much experience of editing videos, making videos, and recording, just being live and on the air. And that, I think, is such a big difference. It's like just committing to doing something a lot. And you don't even have to make a video every day. But what I say is touch it every day. And I completely stole that from like Woody's gamer tag a long time ago. But I think that was the guy that inspired me to do. There you go. It's inspiration right there. And then I'm pushing that forward to someone else, right? But it's just to upload every single day. Or touch it every single day. Work on your channel every single day. Whether it's replying to people in your comment section. Remember, I used to, if you commented on my video, I would reply to you. Like up until I had probably like 10,000 subscribers. But then it just gets to a point where you can't do that anymore. But if you comment on my video, it's like if you took the time, even if you said like, LOL, I'd be like, thanks. Or I'd be like, LOL back. Or, like, nice video. I'd be like, thanks. Just anything. Even if it was negativity, like, I might just be like, sorry, man, like, whatever. Or, if it was like blatant hate, I wouldn't reply. But just to direct so much of your focus into that, right? And I think another big mistake I see a lot of YouTubers do is they're too like spread out. Their focus is too out there. It's too like large, and that hurts you. I mean, I have a second channel, More Smith Plays. When was the last video I uploaded to it? Like, it was a video in Austria, a super clickbaity title called "Getting High in Austria." I didn't actually smoke weed, but it was. I just went up this big mountain. I titled it "Getting High in Austria." It was almost 2 months ago now. Why haven't I uploaded to my second channel? Because the way I see it is I could put 80% of my effort into the Smith Plays and 20% of my effort into this channel, More Smith Plays, or even, whatever, like 90 into the Smith Plays, 10 into this. I could do whatever on this channel, but my problem is like, that means I'm not putting my 100% effort into the Smith Plays. It doesn't matter how much. I can say I'll just work 2 extra hours every day, and then I'll be putting the exact same amount of time into the Smith Plays. But I'm not putting 100% of my effort into the Smith Plays. And I think that's a huge mistake a lot of YouTubers make as well, is they say, I'm going to start another channel, and I'm going to do both these channels. Or I'm going to start a third channel. Or I'm going to start this, I'm going to start that. And, I mean, to the people that do it, man, mad respect. Mad respect. Also, bye to the mod, Axel. Peace out, man. But, mad respect if you can have 2 channels. I think one of the guys that really, I think, does a good job with it, and, drama or not, whatever, you can screw this guy, whatever. But in the long term is T Martin. He's got 2 like successful channels. He manages 2 really good channels. And there's a lot of other guys out there. Like I see Quebblecop doing daily vlogs, and then also has like, I think he does double uploads on his main channel. Like, it's crazy uploads. Awesome if you can do that, but to me, like there's very few people that can maintain a single YouTube channel. Like, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that try to get into YouTube every single day, less than 1% of them succeed. Probably less than 0.1% of them succeed. Because the barrier to entry to YouTube is so small that almost anyone can do it. So many people try. But the actual success ratio is less than 0.1%. And if you can actually break that success barrier and get 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, you have done something that very few people can do. Nobody. Like, think about how many people that you say, like, they'll, like, if you say, like, you upload YouTube videos, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I've uploaded a few videos. They've tried YouTube. Everyone's tried YouTube. But if you can actually get a channel, I always say the 1,000 subscriber mark is the point where you're legit, That's to say, if you have 500 subscribers, that's awesome. Keep grinding. But once you get 1,000, it's like you're actually kind of established. You've got something going there, right? And I feel like before 1,000, not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it's 1,000 is kind of the 4 digits. It's like, all right, you're in this, you're in this, right? I feel like if you can get to that level, you have done something that so few people have actually achieved. Well done. And if you can keep that going and keep that effort going and get to whatever level of subscribers, again, you have done something that very, very few people have actually achieved at, okay? So less than 0.1%, less than every 1,000 people, probably less than every 10,000, maybe even, I don't want to say 100,000 people, but maybe less than every 10,000 people. Think about how many people try YouTube. If you can actually get to some levels of success, you've done what very few people can. And then, to go with the audacity that you can do that again while still maintaining this success over here, it's just not gonna happen. Like, I'm sorry, but so few people do it. It really is insane. Like, I mean, I can say like I would say a pretty successful channel. It's going well. It's going, it's a very healthy growth over the last year. It's been really, really healthy. A really healthy channel, I would say. But even I can't do two channels. Like, I can't do two channels. I could try. I just don't think I could. I think I'm a really hard worker, and I think I have a really strong work ethic. But I don't think I have it as far as I've experienced. Maybe if I didn't go to school, I could maybe do it. But I don't have the effort. I don't have the willpower to do two channels, okay? Very few people. Like, it's like the difference between college football and the NFL. Like, very few people make it to the NCAA level, like American football, which is like big leagues. But then to go even further is like having two successful channels. And that's what it is, man. Like, don't spread yourself thin. It's better to put 100% of your effort into just absolutely rocking one channel than kind of in two channels. And that's what so many people do. I'm gonna start a second channel. Look, I mean, awesome if you can do it, man. And I hate to be a doubter, but seriously, just get yourself on the right track. And like I said, man, I even at 1 million subscribers, like, I have a second channel. I try to maintain it, and I just can't. And if you look at the last 20 videos, they're just trash, and it's just something that I'm not really proud of. And I try to do vlogs, I try to do this, that, and the other thing. And I did have a little spritz there where I did just Let's Plays, and it was great. I did Skyrim, I did Until Dawn, I did COD 4, I did Mario Kart, I did Modern Warfare 2, I did Fallout, I did Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, and then I kind of fell off with it because, like I said, man, I could have done great, but all the videos that did really well on that channel was I could have uploaded that to my main channel and it would have got twice as many views. Like, why would I upload? It's just silly. Like, I did a video, 130,000 views on my second channel. Why didn't I just do that on my main channel? It could have done so well. And that's the problem, man, is I don't see the point in putting, I think the only way you can really do a second channel is if you want to do 50-50. But then you're splitting yourself up so bad that you have to work so hard that if you're not doing YouTube's a lot of work, man. And to do twice, it's just insane. That's what I'm saying, okay? Second channel, really bad idea unless you're a robot. I mean, like I said, I know some just crazy hardworking people. Some of the craziest people ever. They don't have second channels. PewDiePie doesn't have a second channel, okay? I'll leave it at that. Say negative. 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 Guys, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. I'm not going to end this at an hour. I think we should, because it's 100, I think I'm going to take this going for a little bit longer. However, I do have to pee. So give me 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Guys, I'm going to leave you with the chair plays, okay? And we'll be right back. Everyone say hello to the chair plays 2.0. And boom, we're back. Sorry about that, guys, but I am a human being, and I've got needs. I've got biological needs. These things happen. It is what it is, but oh my god, I'm watching myself come back. That's so quick. That's so quick. I love the fact that more people come when I leave. Like, I left, we just gained 100 viewers because the chair plays is so popular. And that's one of the coolest yet weirdest things about the internet, and I feel like about my channel and a lot of people's channels. I notice it with mine is like, my channel is so like memey, and I feel like that's like a really successful way to like have a channel is like be very memey. You know what I mean? Like have like an inside joke with your viewers. People really like that, and I really like having that. Like I feel like throughout my whole channel, I've always kind of had like an inside joke with my viewers, and I love that because it's like, hey, he gets it. You know what I mean? Like I think the first joke I ever had on my channel, I mean, if you really want to go back, there was like a joke that I got stuck in an elevator. I got stuck in a zombie with 2 elevators because one time I was playing Die Rise and I got stuck in an elevator with 2 zombies and I screwed it up. You know, little things like that. But then it like sellout, like you sellout, corn hub, right? Like little things like that. And then right now it's the item plays. It's anything with my channel. The phone plays, the nail clipper plays, the sugar-free Monster can that I'm not sponsored by plays, the glass of water plays. You know, it's everything. The knife plays. The laptop plays. It's everything. And it's, I think both, like I said, as a creator and as just like a guy that's been on YouTube for a while, it's the coolest thing to have that like kind of connection that, you know, I can go to my Twitter right now and I will do it, and you could just see like the dozens and dozens and dozens of new _plays follow YouTube or accounts. Okay, here, so I'm going on to my Twitter. The Bleach plays, that's within like 15 new followers. The Bleach plays. Okay, if we keep going down the list here, like even other YouTubers are getting these. I'm not like I was with some of like Dalek and Noah and Milo, Mr. Raffle Waffles, and he was saying they were getting followers. The carpet plays, the cripple plays. What? You know what I mean? And this is within like the last 100 followers on my channel. It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And that was actually a cool thing I kind of wanted to talk about. And I almost thought about doing a podcast with these guys, but it was just not gonna happen. Was what day? It's Thursday. So Tuesday, I actually got the opportunity to meet Noah J456, Mr. Raffle Waffles, and Mr. Dally JD, which was very, very cool because I haven't like met a new YouTuber in a really long time that I've known. Like for the most part, everybody I know, I've met. Does that make sense? Like Lex, Jack, Bat, all the guys in Z House. A lot of those guys, I've met them, and I've known them for a while. But all 3 of these guys, Noah, Waffles, and Dalek, I've never met before in my life. And I mean, I used to watch Dalek like probably when like between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 beat out. Like I used to watch his custom zombies videos. Then, you know, I've known Noah since like Black Ops 2. I remember watching him way back in the day. And even Mr. Raffle Waffles, like I've known Milo for a long time. He was guest like 15 on the podcast, or episode 15. He was the guest. What I'm getting at though is just like so many, right? Excuse me. So many like cool opportunities to meet YouTubers. And Tuesday, I was live streaming the Horizon Drac Easter egg. And oh my goodness, this I don't like Monster. Makes me burp. But oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Tuesday, I was streaming the Horizon Drac Easter egg, and Chucky texted me. And he's like, "Yo, want to go to LA? Well, LA area, into LA, I should say, to meet these guys." I was like, hold up. Heck yes, I want to meet these guys. So anyways, we got in an Uber. We almost decided to like just like go on the bus or something. We ended up just taking an Uber because it was quicker. It was gonna be like a really long bus ride, and Uber's pretty quick, so we decided to Uber in, and we get to their hotel, and I just was like, whoa. Like I mean, I definitely get nervous meeting YouTubers. Like it's one of those things, but like I can't remember the last time I've been nervous about meeting a YouTuber. And just thinking like, man, like Noah, Dalek, and Milo, like 3 of the biggest zombies YouTubers right now. Like, I mean, Noah is by far the biggest, and Dalek is, I think, is that like the second biggest, like subscriber wise. Be Noah, then Dalek, then Relaxing End. I think those are like the top 3 for size. I'm definitely missing someone, but as far as that my brain can rack, I think those are the 3. And then I think it might be me in size. I think that's it. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, Milo's also big deal too. Anyways, like we get to the hotel and I was like, oh snap, like this is crazy. Like I'm actually gonna meet these guys in real life, because like obviously I know them and I'm friends with them and all this stuff, but it's still to the point where like I'm actually gonna meet these guys. I was really, really excited, and just like going up into the hotel, and we knock on their door, and I can hear them. I'm like, oh shit, it's actually them. And anyways, just meeting those guys, like we open the door, and, it's so awesome to meet YouTubers. I always say this. I've forever said this. Meeting new YouTubers and meeting people that you've known on the internet for a while is one of like the best things ever. So like I was saying, these guys like. I've watched them for so long, and I've known Milo for probably like 2 or 3 years now, personally. And just to finally like actually meet them and get to see them in real life and just talk to them, like we went out for dinner. We just probably talked for like 3 hours just about like YouTube and business and just like nerdy stuff. And just such like an awesome experience. It is always a really, really inspiring thing to talk to people that are kind of on that same level as you, right? And like it's awesome being here with Chucky and Jack, because we just talk about YouTube and everything that's going on and all that stuff. But again, like meeting guys that you've never met before is just like such a level, man. And like I gotta say, like I was genuinely nervous to meet these guys, not because I was like worried what they were gonna think. I shouldn't even say nervous. I was anxious. Like I was like, it was like that nervous excitedness, right? And like I guess it was an excitement, but something I haven't experienced in such a long time, to meet a YouTuber. I was like, whoa. And then we were in an elevator. I was just thinking, like I was like, man, there is so much of the zombies community in this elevator. And I was like, if this elevator were to break and we were to all die in this elevator, like so much, like I was like, this elevator encapsulates so much of the zombies community. Like I was like, there was Noah, me, Dalek, Milo. So that's Noah, me, Dalek will be 4 million, plus Milo, Chucky. There was like 5 million subscribers worth of the zombies community in this elevator. And one of those weird thoughts, I was like, man, if we died right now, like basically like the zombies community would take a huge hit. I mean, it'd be good for some people. Some people would be getting those views this summer, man. Everyone would be hopping ship onto other people's channels. But anyways, we didn't die. The positive plays. Yeah, talking about what if I died. But it's like, dang, this elevator has a lot of responsibility right now for the zombies community. So anyways, it was a cool experience. I still think the best experience I've ever had meeting someone, I don't know, maybe Lex. The first time I met Lex, like, was just cool because I had known Lex since basically like 6 months of my channel being up, and we'd just gone so far. That was cool. But one of the other things that was really cool was the first time, like when I met Lex, we basically just walked around the hotel and we talked for like just like 2 hours about stuff. But it was just like, it was so normal because like I just knew Lex so well. It didn't really feel like all that weird, because it was just like, oh, hey, like what's up, like you have a body and good to see you, like you're actually real. But the first time I ever met YouTubers was at PAX East last year, 2015, and I met like MC Sports Talk, Chucky, Tommy Novera, or Top 5 Central, Misha, JFK Gamer, and that was really, really cool, just because like it was the first time I'd ever met YouTubers, and the first time I'd ever been put into that mindset. Like there's like a very specific thing, like I feel like that happens when you meet YouTubers and when you just meet people that are on the same page with you in general. When you just get into that that mindset of like, not even the mindset, but just like you kind of tune into like that same frequency. You all think the same way of like, I gotta make my channel better and this, that, and the other thing. And it's just really cool. You know, you have like, there's jokes that you could say that you wouldn't say to other people. Like right when I was driving with Jack from the airport, when I got here, he's like there was a car driving and the license plate had 935 in it. I was like, yo, look, 935. And it's like, and then I just immediately said, I was like, man, like there's very few people that I could be driving with in a car, get excited about a license plate that says 935, and they wouldn't think I'm weird for that. And it was like, yeah, because they just get that. And, you know, different friends, different things. But, you know, as far as YouTube goes, obviously, YouTubers are the best people to, yeah, well, that's obvious. But, you don't get it at, it's a cool thing, man. It's a cool thing. I don't know. Are you actually going to meet Ty Lopez? I don't know, man. I got to check my DMs. I wonder if he got back to me. Oh, he didn't get back to me yet. Ty Lopez. Invite me to your party, Ty Lopez. I really want to go. So Ty Lopez is Ty Lopez is having a party. Ty Lopez is having a party in 2 days' time. So it is a Thursday. He's having a party on Saturday. And he said, if you have over 100,000 followers on any of the major social media platforms, you can come. And for a second, I was sitting there. I was like, that sucks. I can't go. And I was like, wait. Because for some reason, I was just thinking Twitter. And I have, like, not that many followers on Twitter. And I was like, wait. I have a million subscribers on YouTube. Such a stupid thing to forget. But I was like, oh, snap. I could actually go. And I was like, we can all go. So, Ty Lopez. Let me come to your party, bro. Please. Ty Lopez. I'm going to follow Ty Lopez so that he'll let me come to his party. Ty Lopez isn't even verified. Maybe I can get that verification. I don't know, man. But Ty Lopez... Ty Lopez, man. I don't know. Man. I would like to go, though. I would honestly like to meet Ty Lopez. Like, yes, I would like to meet Ty Lopez because he is so memey, and I just think it would be awesome because it's like just like a funny thing. But there's honestly a part of me that, like, I know, like he's, people kind of like take Ty Lopez as a joke and stuff. You could be like, oh my god, like he's a hack and all this stuff. But you can't deny that a lot of people know who Ty Lopez is. So he's obviously done something right. And, you know, you could be like knowledge and all those jokes. And that's the thing. But even that video that he made that was so ridiculous has, like, so many views. Now, obviously, it was advertised. Ty Lopez Lamborghini, right? 66 million views. Is that right? Does that sound right?
My garage just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills.
We know this guy, right? We know this guy, right? 66 million views. Maybe not 66 million, but a lot of people have seen this guy, and it's like, you know, you can say whatever you want about him, but the thing is a lot of people know who Ty Lopez is, and I just think he'd be an interesting cat to meet. Honestly, I really actually do want to go to his pool party. So Ty Lopez, tweet Ty Lopez and be like, let the SmithPlays come to your house. Actually, I don't know if I'm even allowed. Well, I have a million followers, so obviously I should be let in. But at the same time, I don't know if the other guys want to go. I don't know. I just think if you have the opportunity to meet Ty Lopez, I think you should do it. Would you do it if you had the opportunity to meet Ty Lopez? I would so do it. Just if I could even just get a picture with Ty Lopez, that would be awesome. Maybe he could teach me some knowledge. Anyways, if I do get the opportunity, you guys will definitely know about it on Instagram and Twitter, and who knows? Maybe we'll even get Ty on for a podcast. Probably not. That is a really far stretch. But that's one of the things actually with the podcast is like I feel like the last probably 15 episodes of the podcast, I've really been trying to put a conscious effort in to improve. And that's something that's really important, is like, bruh. Okay, maybe I think we're okay. There's going through the motions and like, okay, I'm gonna upload a video today, and then there's like really making a conscious effort to upload and to make content. And for me, it's how do I even say it? It's like, I can make a video because like I have to make a video, or I can do a podcast because I have to do a podcast. And I feel like the first 80 episodes of the podcast, I just did, it was like, okay, I need to get someone on this week. Who should I have on? And it was like, it was just, there's a hole, let's fill it up with dirt. Does that make sense? Like, okay, I got to do a podcast this week. Let's just do a podcast. Kind of just going through the motions. And then I kind of got to the point where it's like, man, like I gotta get it together. Like I gotta start working at this, like actually putting a conscious effort in. So I was like, okay, well, first obvious thing we can do, better thumbnail and better overlay. And I think the overlay, like this one, I can do this real quick probably. This one, this is with two people, obviously, prestige. There we go. It's so much more professional. And then I was like, okay, well, there we go. We look a little bit nicer, but we could still make some big moves. So then it was kind of just like, all right, like let's just make an effort to get better people on the show. And what that basically means is like networking and making just a conscious effort to meet more people that I can have on and stuff like that. But a lot of it is also just being able to, oh my God, I gotta close this. I'm sorry, guys. A lot of it though is just being able to just plan. Like instead of, I gotta do the podcast in a day. Who do I get on? Is okay. I do the podcast in a week. Who can I get on? Right? And just, okay, this guy can't come on. Oh, we'll find someone else. This guy can't come on. Okay, all right. Milo City come on. You know, but like really, really putting a conscious effort in to get people on the channel. And to me, I just feel like that has been the area where I've made the most improvements on the channel recently. That's the area where I had the most room to improve, I feel like. And I feel really good, man, about it. I feel really good about the improvements we've been making on the podcast. And just, you know, moving forwards. Like, that's the thing, is always moving forwards. Yeah, man. The podcast is just something that I actually feel like so passionate about over the last couple weeks, the last couple months, honestly. I just really trying to do the best job I can with that, because I just felt like I was going through the motions so much. And really just, you know, trying to get good guests on. I feel like the last 15 episodes we've done have been by far the best. Like there's no question. Like I uploaded every single podcast onto iTunes. I had to download them, and I looked through them all. And then I got to like about 80. Here, I'm just gonna start with 79. It goes like, you know, there was like a 10 segment where I just didn't have any guests, and like that was okay, but it gets boring talking by yourself. You can only do these so much. But it goes Two Pro Few Games, Jimpathy, MC Sports Talk, Solo, Mr. Waffle Waffle, Solo, Laggin, Solo, Azora, Zombros, so Rad Austin, and MC Sports Talk, Solo, Dave, Mr. Deluxify, Solo, Jimpathy, Codename Pizza, Top 5 Central, Solo, Prestigious Key, Mr. Waffle Waffles. That's like a really, even the last 10, okay? Solo, Dave, Lex, Solo, Jimbo, Codename Pizza, Top 5 Central, Solo, Prestige, Waffles. Like, that's been a solid lineup. And that's a lot, in part, been made just because, you know, just going forward, just making moves, just doing our best, man. Just doing our best, trying to really grind for it and really go for it. And this summer is gonna be big. Your podcasts are my favorite part of your channel. Like, that's one of the things, man, is that the podcast almost got shut down. Honestly, like if people, oh, what's up, Jimpathy? What's up, Jimpathy? What's up, dude? I didn't even realize Jimbo was in the chat, but where was I even going with that? I just completely lost my train of thought. Wow. I actually just completely lost my train of thought. I was talking. See, this is why I can't read the chat when I do solo episodes. I just go too too quickly gone. But podcast talking. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Okay, I was talking about the podcast ending and how it almost ended, and the reason it didn't end was basically just the support it got when I kind of talked about maybe ending the podcast. I was like, you know what? Like, we've had a good run. We've had 80 episodes. I think it might be time to end this. And then people were like, no, man, like, you should keep going forward. And I was like, okay. 2016 came around. I remember laying in bed, New Year's Eve. And I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions, but I remember just thinking, like, okay, how can I improve my YouTube channel in the most drastic and efficient way? And I was like, the most obvious answer is the podcast. I was like, I can either shut it down or I can make it better. Because right now, what I'm doing is not going to last. And it's not helping my channel, and it's just not doing very well. And I said, you know what? It's time to nut up or shut up. So, yeah, like, I really do remember it was just around that time we got a new banner, and we were just like, all right, it's time to up our game. And I feel like we've just been making big things. And I'm so glad that you guys enjoy this podcast, because it started to me, and we already talked about this, but it just started as something that was just meant to be personal, a personal touch to the channel, a personal way to express myself, to talk about things, to talk with other people about things, and to just really sit down in a long form way, because I love podcasts and I love being able to just listen to things when I've got, like, you know, a lot of time. If I'm going to the gym, I can multitask. I can listen to a podcast and I can do this and do that, the other thing. And being able to do that is huge. It's so huge to just be able to spread that. I mean, I'm not known for having a podcast. No one knows me for having a podcast. People know me because I make top fives and I play zombies. But the podcast really is like a second gig for the channel, and I think that's cool. For me, it's one of those things that, like, I really hope to keep this podcast going for a long time. Like, my channel could die out in a year, and I'll be like, whatever. And if I could still keep the podcast going, I think that would be cool. Like, in 5 years, SmithSquad Podcast still rolling strong. You know, episode 800, like Joe Rogan, right? You know, he's coming up on 1,000 episodes of that podcast. And to me, I think that's so impressive to just in and out. I don't think I'd ever hit 1,000 episodes, but imagine in 10 years if the podcast was still going, right? New guests still hammering on forward with that. Maybe people would say that's a little bit sad, but at the same time, I feel like that would be a little bit badass to just be that out there where you've just, like, never stopped hammering. And that's what it's all about, man, at the end of the day. I think if anyone, when you turn 18, or, like, at some point in your life, you could, like, just be told one, like, I guess at the point of 18, it'd be cool if, like, you could just be told one absolute truth, like, just not by another person, but, like, just somehow it just into your brain, you turn 18, you just get one absolute truth that will help you for the rest of your life. Or if someone really wise could tell you that, like Yoda could come out of the doors and be like, yo, or Rick Toffin, or I don't know, someone just be like, yo, this is true, let me explain this for you, and you will do better in life because of this. If someone could have done that for me, the one thing I think would have been the most important is hard work at the end of the day. Because we are so soft as people now. We're so wimpy, and we want the easy way in life, and we want everything to be so easy. But the thing that you need to understand about the human being experience is that in equals out. Negative equals positive. Everything balances out to zero. The negative experiences, the positive experiences, it all balances out to zero. The effort you put in equals the rewards you get. Whatever you do in life, there has to be effort. Nothing is without effort, because think about back in the day, right? Back 10,000 years ago, you needed to work to get food to survive. You needed to get water. You needed to have a tribe. You needed to support each other. You needed to hunt. You needed to get berries. You needed to get all this other stuff. Effort in equals survival, right? That hasn't changed. That's like, it's evolved, but it hasn't changed. You still need to work. And people, for some reason, think that they can get out of that they can get out of the work thing. And I think the sooner you can realize you realize that you have to put the hard work in life. Like, there's no easy way through life. There is only effort. There is only finding a path that you really enjoy. And you can enjoy the hard work you put in, but you gotta put that work in, man. There's no other way around it. People that get born with these lump sums of millions of dollars, and even people I know in my life where their parents are really, really well off and their parents spoiled them, they're screwed, man. Like, I don't even know how I turned out well, because my parents are quite well off. I mean, we're not like rich by any means, but like I was really fortunate to be in a good home where we didn't have to worry about money or anything. But I never got everything I wanted, right? I remember I wanted a GameCube when I was like 10 years old. Mom's like, well, you're going to have to figure out how to get a GameCube. So I waited for my birthday and I said, I want money. Made everyone just give me money. And then I got a GameCube, right? Little things like that, I think, helped me, because it helped me realize that, you can't just get everything you want in life for free, right? And when your parents spoil you like that and you get everything you want, and if you don't get it and you complain, you say, oh, I want this, that is the most worst negative conditioning you could ever have as a person. That is just the terrible, terrible, operant conditioning. Operant conditioning. Yeah, that is oh my goodness, I remembered something from my Psych 1 class. But yeah, it's just is that your response, your actions equal this. If I get upset because I don't get something, then I get it because your parents give it to me. Or you're just basically conditioned to think that anything you want, you get. You ask for something, you get it. It's such a bad way to be, man, because once you get to the real world, your parents aren't there to do that for you, and then you just think life is easy. You get conditioned to think that whole equation of energy in equals rewards out doesn't exist. You just get to the point where you just think that you get whatever you want, and then you realize once you go off to university, once you go off doing whatever, life is hard, and you can't just get stuff for free. You got to put the work in. You got to put the time in. You want to get in shape, you got to hit the gym. You got to eat healthy. You want to get smart, you got to get knowledge. You got to read books. You got to read a book a day. But you know what I'm getting at is that it's all about that effort. And people, I think the biggest way, people talk about winning the lottery because they want an easy life. Easy lives don't exist. Easy lives don't exist. Good lives exist and bad lives exist, and we get different cards dealt, and some people get lucky cards and some people get bad cards. I got dealt, honestly, an incredibly lucky card. Like, my parents are together. We didn't really have to worry about money growing up at all. I was born into a super, super awesome country known as Canada. I had good friends. I played football, and I had a really good life. I did really, really well in school. I think it was because I worked hard, but I was just like naturally good at school. I'm really, really lucky, really, really fortunate, and it is the cards you've been dealt with. But that being said, I know people that have been dealt way better cards that just squandered it, right? And it's about realizing like what it's all about in life. And I just think about that. Like, there's no easy way. There's no easy way. Even if you had $1 billion today, like if I just PayPal'd you my $1 billion that I've made from my YouTube videos, I'm just kidding. You win the lottery and you now have $1 billion. Dang, life's going to be pretty easy now. Life's going to be pretty awesome now, right? Because you have $1 billion and you don't have to worry about stuff. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because I think at the end of the day, we're trapped by our biological programming. We're trapped by what we are, and we are people, okay? What I mean by that is it doesn't matter how successful you are, how much absolutely wealthy you are, or whatever, because at the end of the day, no matter how advanced our brains get, we are still programmed on a basic reward system of you do this, you feel good because you achieved it. That's just life. You go to the gym, you feel better because you worked out and you made yourself better. You make a video, you feel good. You go to school, you put the effort in, and you get a good mark on a test, you feel good about that. You know, you feel self-esteem, like you are worth something because you have worked hard to achieve something, and now you actually are worth more than you originally were. And there's no escaping that. The only escaping that is through drug use and sedation and you know, working at your own reward systems. And I think that's actually one thing with marijuana. I think that I see the argument in, and I'm not someone that is like neither for or against marijuana. Like it's illegal and it's whatever. I think it should be legalized. And I've always kind of maintained that, is I don't think people under age should smoke it. Like I really do try to maintain that on the channel. But at the same time, if you're an adult, like, I mean, you do you, man. Like, I drink, and it's like, you know, like, who am I to say you shouldn't smoke weed? Like, absolutely not. Like, if you want to smoke weed, you smoke weed. I drink alcohol. But what I am saying, I guess alcohol, too, is, like, drugs play a game on your reward system, saying that, like, they kind of tricks you, like, yes, we achieved something, right? And if you get too much into that, you do that, like, every single day as some sort of drug, right? Really bad, not only because some of these drugs can be physically dangerous to you, or you could develop dependencies on them, but also just because it kind of tricks that natural reward system into thinking like, oh, I feel good, we achieved something, when you didn't achieve something, right? And, you know, like I said, I'm not saying it's bad to do these things. Like, if you're an adult, do whatever the heck you want, man. Like, I'm not the moral guiding compass of light. And if you wanna smoke weed or do whatever you want, man, then you do whatever the heck it is you want. But I think there should have an age limit. Yeah, I mean, definitely, there definitely should be an age limit, because these things are bad to your physical health as a developing youth. Definitely. People say that big argument with marijuana. Definitely. But so is alcohol. You know, so is probably nicotine, or like cigarettes, you know. What I'm saying, though, is like, I don't even know where I'm going with that. Drugs are an interesting topic. Very interesting topic, actually. I don't know. How far are we into this? We're an hour and a half. How far do we want to go with this, guys? I could roll. I could keep rolling. What's your expectation on Gorak Ravi? I'm not excited for the features. Not sure how excited I am for the map, but I really, really, really like Russia. I just don't want to get my hopes up right now. Coffee is a drug. The knowledge plays. I love it. I love it, man. I'm so hot. I probably look like just disgustingly sweaty in this. The Wise Pat plays. Man, this, like I said, this was just going to be an episode of sugar is a drug. Holy crap. Canadian Z3 BRA. I need... Congratulations. You just sent, like, me on the most... Okay, it's time to talk about sugar. Sugar is a drug, man. It's so addictive, and it's like the most basic drug out there, because just think about this, okay? Let's not think of this as food. Just think of this as something else that is a drug that you put in your body. So just think of it as some sort of pill, right? When you eat something that you really think tastes really good, like some Skittles or some gummy bears or something sugary, you eat it, and for like the 10 to 15 seconds that you're eating it, it's like, oh my god, this is so good, and then it goes away, and that's it. It's like a 15, like sugar is literally like a 15-second high, and then it goes away, and that's like it, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like you're kind of just left with a feeling of worseness, because sugar makes you feel terrible, and it just rocks your body. Like, it's this huge spike in insulin, and then you just feel like crap after you crash on it. So you eat a little bit more sugar, and then you feel good. Oh my god, it tastes so good. And then you feel bad afterwards. And if you eat like a whole bag of Skittles, which I did yesterday, I ate like half a bag of king-size bag of Skittles, I felt terrible after, but it was so good at the time. And I was like, man, sugar is such an addictive thing, because I was like, oh, I'll just have some Skittles. And that's good. I mean, all right, I'm fine with Skittles. 30 seconds later, I think I want some more Skittles. And you just keep going with that, and you just keep going with that and going with it. And I'm like, holy shit. If this was a drug, this would be the most addictive, like, terrible thing ever. If there was a drug that you could take, and you get high off it for like 15 seconds, and then you just crave more, how friggin' illegal would that be? But because it's food, It's completely fine. It's in all those superstores. It's everywhere. And I don't think it should be made illegal, obviously. I think if someone wants to put that in their body, they have the free will to do that. But holy crap, when you phrase it like that, you say, okay, there's a drug and it makes you feel really good for 15 seconds, and then after that, you feel kind of bad, but you crave more immediately, and then if you take it long term, it's gonna make you really fat and really unhealthy, and you're gonna die early. Whoa, that sounds pretty terrible when you put it like that. That's sugar. That's sugar. Sugar makes you fat. Sugar's terrible for you. That's why I put really good stuff into my body, like 0 sugar and 0 calorie Monster Energy Ultra Red. Haha, yeah. I don't endorse this at all, and I probably wouldn't even say you should drink Monster. Probably also that's because I'm sponsored by G Fuel, but G Fuel is also sugar-free, and it probably is better for you than Monster. Maybe Monster's not that bad sugar-free. I got the sugar-free because I didn't want the sugar, but maybe it's really bad for me. It's probably really bad for me, but tastes good anyways. I don't know, man. Sugar is just one of those things that it's very addictive. It's very addictive. But I have a question, okay? If we could talk about this objectively, right? If we could talk about this objectively, is like, should drugs be illegal? Paz is supposed to bet against Skittles. I freaking love Skittles, man. Purple Skittles are the best. It's so bad, though. Energy drinks are also addictive. Caffeine's addictive, man. I'm addicted to caffeine. Absolutely. I can go, like, I don't think I'm too bad. Like, I'll go days without caffeine, and I'll intentionally take days off from not consuming any just to give my body a break from, revving itself up to deal with all the caffeine and, like, because it changes your brain chemistry and stuff. But definitely addicted to caffeine. Like, YouTube and caffeine, it just goes hand in hand. It's like, I'm going to live stream. Going to have some energy drink, right? I would normally have 2, but I was like, it's episode 100. I think I want to go ham for this episode. So I was going to say, though, is like, drugs are such a touchy thing. Like, I feel like in 2016, it's a much more open thing to talk about, which I think is good to have these conversations. Because in the 1980s and 90s, people were told that drugs are bad. And that is the most ignorant and irresponsible thing to do about drugs. Because basically, they classed every single drug together, said they're all 100% bad on the exact same level, saying that marijuana is as bad as cocaine, which is as bad as meth, which is as bad as LSD, which is as bad as MDMA, and every other single drug. They're all as bad, and don't do them. And if you do them, you'll get pregnant and die. And that is the most irresponsible thing you could probably do. Just don't educate people on them at all. Just say, trust us, don't do them. Meanwhile, alcohol and tobacco are completely fine for you, and you can get them and just drink yourself to death at any point you want. But drugs are bad, okay? Opiates, right? Opiates that you can get from the doctor, those are okay. But these drugs that we have are completely illegal. And I've talked about this a little bit before on the podcast. It's kind of a touchy subject because I know I have like a younger audience. But it's still a good conversation to have because alcohol is in the same category as any other drug out there, as marijuana, as meth, as cocaine, as heroin. They're all psychoactive drugs that affect your body. And like I said, I think like the North Americans, because I don't really know how it is in Europe, but I know in North America, it's just really horribly handled because you make those drugs illegal, and then you instantly create a black market for drugs. So basically, marijuana is the easiest one, and the Canadian Prime Minister made a really good argument. He said, we want to make marijuana legal because if it is illegal, you create a black market for it, and by creating a black market for it, you make people that are willing to commit these crimes into positions where they can sell this drug because they don't care about committing crimes, and then you're putting money into the pockets of criminals. Not only are you putting money into the pockets of criminals, but by doing this, you're also basically making it so that people that are young have readily access to marijuana, okay? How much, like, I mean, like, if you're at any age, if you're in high school and beyond, like, think about how much easier it would be to find marijuana than it would be to find alcohol. Because alcohol is regulated. You have to be, in America, 21. In Canada, you have to be 19. You cannot get it if you're under that age unless you go and find someone that can buy it for you. However, with this illicit substance that criminals are selling, you can just, all you have to do is find someone that's selling it. They don't care if you're 16 and you want to buy weed. They'll sell it to you because they're a criminal, and it doesn't really matter, right? They'll sell it to you if you're underage because they're not regulated. They're committing a crime, and they don't really care because they're just trying to sell drugs to make money. Whatever, it is what it is. You know, it's a black market. It's whatever. It's how it works. And the governments create that black market by making the drug illegal. And he says by regulating it, it will make it more difficult to get it if you're underage, which I would absolutely agree with. Not initially, because there'll still be a black market for it, but eventually, right? Like alcohol, I mean, at the age of when I was 16, I knew many people that I could find marijuana from because it's just out there. Like, people just do it, and it's that. But if I wanted to get alcohol, I would have to find someone that's 19, right? A lot harder when it's regulated. And again, you don't put money, give money. You're supporting criminals, basically, is what's happening. And I think if you look at people, I think it's in America, I think it's Colorado and it's Denver, I want to say. Is that right? No, Colorado is Denver, right? Colorado and Washington, like the state, it's both on the West Coast, like Seattle and Denver, like the cities that those states, Colorado and Washington, they made it legal, and they're getting all this new tax money and all this stuff because criminals aren't making money off it now. The state's making money off it. So now they have all this extra tax money to do cool stuff. Came here and he's talking about illegal stuff. Whoa. Oops. Sorry about that. So, yeah, man. The younger audience plays. Like, no, and you know, you could say, like, oh, you should talk about this because you have a younger audience, but Denver's a state. No, Denver's a I don't know. Oregon? I don't know Oregon. Oregon's between... Denver is in Colorado. So, yeah, Colorado is down here, and then up on the border of Canada is Washington. Denver, Colorado. Oh, it is Oregon? Oh, people are saying it is Oregon. Colorado and Washington. Anyways, not California. No. Okay, anyways. You get what I'm saying. Is the place where it's legal is it's actually helping their economy, and it's helping them because no longer is criminals benefit off it, but it's just taxed. It's just taxed. It's great. So on that note, I think, yes, absolutely, good job, Canada, making it legal. Justin Trudeau, nice play. I think that's a really smart and responsible decision. But you still have a lot of other drugs that are way more questionable, right? And to just say, no, don't do them, they're illegal, again, is really, really irresponsible. And I don't really have an answer to that situation, but I know for sure that the Canadian government does a really bad job at educating people on drugs and different drugs, because drugs are out there. When I went to university, like when you go to university, at least where I went, like so much access to drugs. Like obviously I didn't partake, but there's so much access, and there's so many people that choose to do that without the knowledge of, okay, what does this drug do? And even if you are going to make that decision as an adult to do that, which again, it's no one's place to say that you can or cannot do that. But if you even have the knowledge before to make that decision, I think it's really, really good. I think it's really good to say, like, oh, I want to do cocaine. Like, I don't think it's really good to do cocaine. It's not, okay, it's not good to do cocaine. But if you're at the point where you're going to do cocaine, it's probably a good thing to know how that drug is going to affect you. So I'm not saying it's good, obviously, okay, let's be serious here. But I think if someone is at the point where they've already chosen that they're going to do this drug, I think it's good that they at least understand how it's going to affect their brain, and it's how it's going to affect them, both long-term and short-term. Long-term is that, okay, this is an addictive, very addictive drug, and, I can get into this, and it could potentially ruin my life. And, if they're prepared to take that risk, then, I mean, who's to say otherwise? But to also just on the notion that, how is this gonna, what is this gonna do to me, right? That is really important. And to just tell people, no, don't do it, that's like the same thing as saying, no, just don't have sex. Okay, that's just stupid. Abstinence is the best way to be pregnant. We're still animals at the end of the day. People are gonna have sex, and teach safe sex. Use condoms. Do this to teach knowledge about people. But this drug will be really addictive and put holes in your brain, and do this, that, and the other thing. That's an important conversation to have. I really do think that, and I mean, I don't think meth should be legal, but at the same time, to just say no, don't do it is irresponsible, because people are going to do it, and that puts those people at a greater danger. You hear me out? I know it's a touchy subject, but I really think that drug education is very important, but it's not brushed under the rug. Not as bad as it used to be, definitely. But I mean, I was told that at school, marijuana will deplete all the chemicals in your brain and stuff, which is kind of ridiculous too. What has this begun? I don't know. It's whatever. I think another thing though is if you make drugs illegal, this black market also makes the drugs themselves unregulated. If you go to all these concerts, you hear about people that took this drug and it wasn't what they expected it to be, and then they died. I don't think people should die, and when they're getting these drugs that aren't regulated, and then it's not what they expect, they want this drug, and then there's the really bad other drugs in it, whatever, and then they die because it wasn't what they thought they were getting. That's really dangerous too, and I don't know how you can do that, because it's obviously you shouldn't be selling. Obviously, you shouldn't be selling the classic festival drug is Molly or MDMA, and that can be often laced with stuff and cut down with even worse drugs. And if you're choosing to take that, then whatever. But it's I don't know. It's just I just feel if it's, I don't know, man. It's a very touchy subject, and it's what do you do about it? But I think the world is going in the right way. So, anyways, I don't know. That's my thoughts on drugs. One other thing though, as I was gonna talk about this a long time ago, is something positive. Yeah, what's up, Christian Oritz? That is the name of this, something positive. But I was gonna say something that is a joint, and I hear drugs. Is something that's kind of cool is people, how quickly our minds change versus our body. That's what I was talking about so long ago. It's you can change your decision about something in your mind really, really quickly, but it takes a long time for your body to go with that. The mind changes quicker than the body. You can make the decision in an instant that I want to get in shape, but it takes a lot longer for the body to actually get in shape, because and even the brain to make those mental habits of getting in the habits of exercise. And that was just an idea that I had on my phone, and I wanted to throw that out there. It's that the mind changes quicker. The mind bends faster than the body or brain. It is like a really heavy boat in the water. So you never seen had a boat in the water and you have a rope on it and you pull it. It takes almost a second for it to get that momentum, right? And that's kind of the mind. You pull the rope, and that's your mind, right? The rope is your mind. It's let's go this way. But if you just uphold that mentality for a day, oh, it's New Year's resolutions, I'm gonna start eating healthy now, pull this way, it's a really heavy boat, it's not gonna move right away, and you gotta really put the effort in. But the thing is once you get that boat moving through the water, it's gonna really the momentum is going in this way, so you can really go that way now, right? And that's like for like a great like classic example is exercise. At first people just want to exercise, but then the boat doesn't move that quick, and then they get discouraged. But eventually, if you put the work in for like 6 months or a year or whatever, even a few months, the momentum's going to get there, and your body's going to get used to working out, and the momentum's going to start going the way of healthiness. And then maybe, or let's say currently the boat is moving in the opposite direction. It's going in you're just pulling along freely, putting junk food in your body, throwing in drugs, throwing in all this different stuff, and just sitting around all day drinking Monster Energies and just being really bad. Then you're like, oh, I think I want to eat healthy now. So now you have to actually stop the boat. The mind's going this way, but the boat's still going this way. You have to stop the boat and then get the momentum going the other way again. So it's like the mind bends quickly, but the bodies are really like habitual, and you gotta like constantly do stuff. The boat plays. Oh my goodness, you guys are something else. You guys are ridiculous, but it's funny. It's really funny. Dick plays. The SmithSquad Podcast plays. The Door plays. I don't know. It's one of those things. And one of those things that like I've realized as I've gotten older, is how like quickly like viewpoints change. Like I look at myself like 2 years ago, and I feel like I've changed so much. Like I feel like I've learned a lot, but I feel like Fit Monster Energy sponsorship. Yeah, I don't really care. Usually when you have a G Fuel sponsorship, you don't want that. But I think like, what was I gonna go about? Yeah, like when you're younger, you're more open to stuff. You're more open to what things really are. Like when you're 20 years old, 18 years old, 16 years old, probably even 25, you're very open to the world. Like, oh, like it could be this or it could be that. Like I found myself being more like, very open. People say, oh, this is it. And I'll be like, well, are you sure this is really it? And then oftentimes like I'll find myself going through like a really long mental thing and just like looking at every single alternative, bang, 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 bang. And like, then I'll come to my decision. But slowly as like I've been getting older, I would say like over the last 2 years even, I do that less because I feel like I get quick. Like I've been, and in 10 years I'm sure I'll be way better at this. But even in the last 2 years, I've gotten much better at recognizing patterns and be like, oh, like I know how people interact in this situation usually. Oh, well, it's probably boom, 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 this, right? Like, oh, you're like if someone is really hostile, they're probably making up for an insecurity. Like that's just a quick kind of correlation I can make, where I feel like 2 years ago I would probably be like, oh, why is that person being such an asshole? Well, they're really deflecting like this, and then okay, well they're probably insecure about that, so maybe that will like slowly go to that thing. Whereas I feel like now I can make that connection. Like if someone is being really mean or someone is upset about someone, like they make fun of people, right? They're probably insecure, because the rudest people are the most insecure people. If you're really secure with yourself, you don't need to put others down, because you just are how you are. You just are at the level that you're at, and you don't need to be rude to other people, even if it's like a joke. You don't need to be negative, because if you're cool, then you don't need to be rude to other people. And that's the thing, is like it's those little connections I make, and I could see how as you get older, you make more of those and more of those and more of those. And by the time you're like 40, 50, you've recognized so many patterns. You're just so wise. And that's what I could see, like, to first be, to be old and wise, you first have to be young and stupid. You have to recognize these patterns. But the biggest problem that adults make is that they get to the point where they think they know it all. And that is just as bad as being young and stupid. To think, I've recognized this pattern, this, and this, and now I'm 50 years old and I know everything, is really, really dangerous. And yes, I guess you can kind of cut off a lot of that openness, because you kind of have a pretty good idea of how the world works after 50 years of being on it. But to just be like, nope, I know how it is 100% of the time, that's really dangerous too, right? To be completely open to everything is bad, I guess, but it's good to form your own opinions. Don't just think what people say is it. Go through it on your own. Read up on it. Educate yourself. And figure stuff out on your own. Because then you're going to feel a lot more confident in what you know versus just, oh, this person told me something. Think about it. Really think about it. Go for a walk and think about it. Weigh out the pros and cons of things. Think about how other people work and all this stuff. And make your own decisions, you know? Did this person do something really, really bad? Are they a scumbag? Or am I just thinking this because I watched another YouTuber and this other YouTuber said they were? And I'm not talking about this recent issue with the CSGO Lotto thing. But that is like a relevant thing, is people will see like, oh my God, this YouTuber did something really bad. And I'm not here to comment on that. That has nothing to do with me and it doesn't affect me. But I see it all the freaking time on YouTube, is that someone does something bad, that entire fan base audience jumps on this person's opinion without thinking about it themselves, and then just 100% follows that person. Like, wake up, sheeple. But no, it's like people, the recent stuff is so relevant, but I want to talk about something that's maybe a little bit more older and out of people's mind. Like, what was a good one? Good drama from like 6 months ago. See, people, that's the thing. I can't even remember because drama doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I can't even think about something that happened 6 months ago because it doesn't even matter. Pat looks sweaty, dude. I am so sweaty. But I guess the thing is like, you know, like, I really don't want to talk about. Anyways, let's just say some YouTuber did something bad, and then a YouTuber takes it, makes a video on it to self their own, to benefit their own channel. Say, oh, I'm exposing this guy because I don't like what he does. Oh my goodness, this chair. And you know, I'm gonna expose this guy and show the world what a scumbag he is. Leafy and H3H3, there's a good one. So H3H3 made a video basically saying, I'm gonna call this guy out because I don't like what he's doing, and then everyone like automatically just jump on that YouTuber. And I'm not saying anything bad about H3H3. But it's a perfect example. You know, people hear what he says and automatically assume he's right. You know, people hear what people have to say against Syndicate and T Martin and instantly jump to the point of, these guys are scumbags because someone told me that they are. When the thing is you need to do your research. Like people just say, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon that this person's a scumbag. So, you know, Leafy's a scumbag because he made fun of an autistic person. Well, at least do your research before you go jumping at this person, because you don't know. Like, anyone could say anything. I could say like, Mr. T Lexify just did something terribly awful, and there'd be someone that would believe me out there. At the million subscribers I have, like, someone would believe me that I'm serious about that. I could easily make a video. And that's the thing, is you need to be able to distinguish between what's right and what's just put out there, right? So I don't know, like, I just hate that like instant jump to negativity that everyone has. And that's the thing, like, I notice when these dramas happen is I see like, okay, like who's turning on who here because something bad happened, right? And it's like, okay, so, you know, people are really quick. You know, when someone is successful and they're doing well, people are really quick to love you. They're really quick to, man, this guy's awesome. And the second they do something bad, they are so ready to just turn on you and just say, you are a fucking scumbag. You are the worst thing that ever happened. You have never done anything wrong to me until this very moment. But now the fact that you've done this one thing, you are dirt. You are 100% dirt. And that's fine to say that, okay, I don't like what you did. I don't want to associate with you anymore. But people are so quick to do it to benefit themselves, and I honestly think it's the most disgusting thing. Like, you can have your opinions and you can dislike other people, but people are so spineless, man. They're so quick to just jump on the bandwagon of, oh, this guy did this, so I absolutely hate this person now, and I'm gonna make a video about it. And, you know, people are so quick to jump on the bandwagon, and it's really funny to see who does that, because then you think, you know, I've seen people do that, and, you know, some people will be super nice to people. You know, the person that is really nice to you will then go against, hear this news and then go against that person that's being exposed. And it's like, wow, I bet you'd do the exact same thing to me, because it would benefit you. And honestly, I feel like that is just as slimy as doing slimy shit. Just being like such a flip-floppy person. People are just so quick to just jump on hate bandwagons when it doesn't even affect them. It doesn't even affect you. And yes, justice, yes, exposing people that are doing bad things is good, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not about it. And like I said, I'm not saying like H3. I don't even want to talk. I'm not even talking about T Martin and Syndicate and H3. I'm not even talking about that. Okay, I want to say that what I'm talking about does apply to what I'm talking about, absolutely. But that's not a specific example. It's just the most recent set of drama that has been going on for the last 5 years, 10 years on YouTube, and it's just these things that are never gonna end. That being said, if you ever fuck up, just apologize, man. That's what I've learned. I don't know. Racist piece of shit. I don't know, man. I just think people need to just. I don't know. People are just very quick to jump ship on other people. Makes me wary of others. That's all I'm saying. So what I'm getting out of this is Lex did 9/11. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And you know what? Like I said, at the end of the day, guys, I've always maintained this. I'm just some 20-year-old on the internet. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I just have the opinion of one person that thinks he knows something about nothing and really doesn't know anything at all. And I'm just one person, you know what I mean? And don't even listen to me. Like, I'm saying all this stuff. Don't even believe me, okay? Like, don't just be like, I'm 100% right because I said this stuff. It's good to question things I say. Like, it's good to question everything anyone says. And Pat, you're a hypocrite. Exactly. Probably am. Like, I made a video saying I don't like gobblegums and DLC and microtransactions and the black market, and then I did a gobblegum opening. Hypocrite? I guess so. But at the same time, you know what? The problem with that, though, is like, even that was a perfect example that someone could have exposed me and been like, so quick, right? Someone could have easily just made it, I'm exposing the SmithPlays because I made a video. Basically, the video was that I said, I'm nervous where the microtransactions are heading. Like, it's kind of bad now and I don't like it. And I basically said, I really hope it doesn't go this way. I said I still like gobblegums. I just said I don't like the black market side of things and I'm scared it won't go to zombies. And then I made a video a few days later doing a gobblegum opening because I needed gobblegums. And everyone on the Reddit was like, you are the biggest hypocrite. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. I was like, shit, someone's going to make an exposed video about me. Fortunately, nobody did. And I didn't think it was really that big a deal because the thing is like, to me, it was like, I was just making a video, like, expressing an opinion on this, but it didn't really. No, the thing is, though, it doesn't matter because if someone wanted to, what they could have done, exposing SmithPlays video for it. Exactly, right? What someone could have done and what the Reddit did is didn't even listen to what I had to say. They just said he made a video that is against microtransactions and then made a video where he used microtransactions. Equals scumbag. Which, in that sense, yes. But if you wanted to go deeper into it, you would have seen that basically it wasn't a video saying, I didn't even say I was in support of the black market blackout. I basically just said, I don't like this. I don't know where it's heading. I even said I like gobblegums. I like MAGA gobblegums, and I will still uphold that. MAGA gobblegums are fucking awesome, okay? I don't like that I have to pay for them when do like 1,000 gobblegums openings, but it's my channel, and it's a business investment, and, if I can spend, $50 on gobblegums and like save game time for getting gameplay, like I pop a double points and then I can get points quicker and then I can open up the stuff I need and just get gameplay quicker, or an immolation that'll get me the gun that I need from the box to feature in my video, heck yes, I'm gonna do it because it's gonna save me a load of time. But the problem I easily could have seen that going into SmithPlays Exposed, because all you'd have to say is he said he was against gobblegums and then he made a video supporting gobblegums and he opened 1,000 liquid diviniums and he spent his money and he's gonna make tens of thousands of dollars back on this video. Easy SmithPlays Exposed video. But the problem is that's not true. That's not true at all. But if someone really wanted to expose me, easily could have done it. There's enough evidence that you could tweak things a little bit, and that's the problem, man, is people will run with things that are completely false, but just tweak little details, and then it'll just go blah, blah, blah. Oh, I heard this. Oh, I heard this. And now all of a sudden you're a scumbag when realistically, you didn't really do anything that bad. And that's just the thing of the internet. And that experience taught me that I need to be more careful of the things I say, because people will be like, "Oh, you're a hypocrite." And you know what I mean? Like, I go against the things I say every week. Like, I will say something and then I'll be for something and it'll be against something. And people try to act like what you say on the internet is 100% true forever. Like, I said I'm going skydiving for 500,000 subscribers. And then I decided, you know what? That's been done before. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. But because I said it once, I still get people asking, when are you going skydiving? I'm not going skydiving, okay? It's just not a very good idea. It's been done dozens of times before, and I wanted to do something bigger and better. And I thought going to the real life Horizon track would be way better. But what I'm saying is, you could be like, he said he'd do this and then he didn't do this. What a scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, I could think of like probably 5 videos I can make exposing myself of just saying, like, here's another one. I said a year ago, I was like, I don't want the PPSH to return because I'm scared that they're going to make it not as good as it was in World at War. You can quote me on that. That is in a video. And then you can go to a week ago when the Garage Trophy trailer dropped and I get excited because the PPSH is in it. What a fucking hypocrite scumbag. I guess, but my opinion changed. I said, you know what? I got to the point. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I just want a PPSH. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to have it in videos. If people get hype about it, whatever. I made a video about it at the time. It was one opinion, but you know what I'm saying is people's opinions change. People's ideas change all the time. Weekly, daily. The mind changes quickly. The body, not so much. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Is people... People change a lot, okay? People change a lot. People change their opinions a lot. I'm a very open-minded person, and I think changing your opinion is a good thing. It means that you thought something, and you made an opinion, and then oftentimes when we make an opinion, right? You make your opinion, you make an idea, and then we will attach our egos to those ideas that we have created. So like, it doesn't even matter. Like, oh, I like this politician. And because you believe that politician is right, you associate your sense of self-worth with the opinion that the idea that your opinion is correct. And then when someone goes against your opinion, people will take that personally. People will say, that is against me, okay? That is against what I am as an individual and a being, right? And when you take that, people get offended, right? That's where being offended comes from. But the problem with that is that... Wait, what? Is my package delivered? One sec. Okay, one sec. Hold that thought. I have a package. Your package was delivered. Delivery was signed by Smith. Okay, apparently I have a package here, except I didn't sign it. Anyways, what I'm saying is back to that. I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have checked my phone by the important package coming. Anyways, so like, we associate our sense of self-worth sometimes with our ideas, but the problem with that is that when we go against our ideas, people say, well, you're unreliable. You change your ideas. And the problem with that is that, like, if you have an opinion, right, it's so invested in you. Like, let's just say you like a politician, and then you, for whatever reason, decide to change your mind because you think, you know what, I've done my research now. I guess you know what, I wasn't right about that. Good for you, man. Good for your ability to go outside of your own ego and sense of self-worth. Put that ego down a little bit and be like, you know what? I'm not right about everything. I'm going to change my mind. And in our society, we are so bad about doing that. We are so bad about being like, oh my God, this guy changed his idea on the internet after a year. Well, he just flip-flops. And let's not talk politics, but let's talk, just people, me, right? Well, he changed his idea on the PBSC. He changed his idea on microtransactions. He changed this. No, that's good that you change your opinion because it means you're growing. It means that you are introspecting yourself. You are looking into your own being and judging it and saying, am I making the right decisions? Am I being a good person? Are my opinions right? Or maybe I need to make a change. And people will get so deep into the idea of comfort and that my ideas are right and that I don't want to change because I'm scared to change and that I am too far invested that the going out of my comfort zone is not worth it. So I'm just going to continue believing what I believe, that my religion is right, or my political views are right, or that my ideas on anything in this world is right, and that I'm not going to change because I have to be right. Because what I was told when I was born into this random family and this random country that I had absolutely no control over, in this country of 1 in 200, that this happens to be the right one. The right ideas, the right set of principles, the right set of morals. And that is really dangerous, to think that you are automatically right, that you are 100% down to earth, that you know exactly what it is. And again, when you can step back a little bit and just say, like, maybe I need to reevaluate my looks on this, Maybe I need to think about, is this right? For example, I grew up Christian in a Christian household. I went to school and learned, like Christianity, and that wasn't really doing it for me. Okay, and like I don't, if you are for a religion, like that's good, man. Like you do you. But me personally, the way I operated, I said, you know what? I don't think this is right. I don't really believe in God. I don't really believe in this whole. I'm not buying into this whole religious system, and I was like, no, I don't dig it. So I guess I didn't label myself as it, but I guess I moved to the idea of being an atheist. By the way, I'm so sweaty. We're gonna have to wrap this up soon, but I guess like I didn't really label myself as an atheist, but I guess technically I probably would be considered one. And I thought this, and then I thought this, so I have to be right. So I was like, oh yeah, I've got to be right. Atheism's right. And the more I thought about the universe and life and all this stuff, probably a few years ago, I said, you know what? Like what am I to think that there's no God, that there's nothing out there, that this is it, the randomness of consciousness and anything out there. How the heck do I know that there's nothing, and that this is just going on in the things going on in my brain is just like who am I to know that consciousness is just a series of chemicals, and once you die it's over and there's nothing, and that's it? Who am I to have the audacity to assert that I know that? No one knows that. Nobody can confirm that. And like, again, if you're atheist, if you're into a religion, whatever. And then I thought, you know what? There's no way. And again, I changed my opinion again. And now I just believe that there's something else out there. I don't know what. I don't know. But just to have the audacity to say that 100% there is no God, or 100% there is a God, it's foolish. Like, yes, you could believe in one thing or another. But personally, I just think there's too much out there that we don't understand to know. So I don't know what that is. Agnostic, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's technically what it is. It's just I don't know. I don't know. I'm open to anything. I'm open to a God. I'm open to nothing. I don't know what it is, but for now, I think there's something out there. I think higher power. I credit yoga to that, man. That was yoga. That was all yoga that got me into that idea, and then I ran with it, and then that's where I came to it. Freedom of speech, religion, no hate. Yeah, no hate if you're a religious man. Like I said, I used to be a Christian, and then I was an atheist. See, I don't label myself as that. Like, that was an idea I had, but that wasn't me, right? I didn't root my ego in that idea. I just said, well, this is what I believe. And again, it's all about just rooting your ego in an idea. Say, oh, I'm a Christian, and like I said, that's great, man. Like, that's great, but you shouldn't just, it's good to question yourself. It's good to question yourself. Reincarnation? Maybe, man. I read this story on this guy, and he dies, and basically he dies, and he goes and he talks to this guy afterward. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm dead. Like my family, my kids. Oh my god." And the guy says, "Relax, man. It's okay. Like you've done this many times before." And he says, like, you are experiencing the existence of every single human being ever. So you are just one consciousness. There's only one consciousness, and it's like this God, kind of this powerful figure, talking to this guy who was just killed, and he kind of he's like still rooted to who he is as a human being, and he says, "Trust me, you've done this billions of times before. You just died, and the next person you're going to be is an Asian lady in 1960s China or something like that." And then you'll live that life, and you'll die, and you'll come back here, and you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna say, "Oh my god, I'm dying. Oh wait, okay." And the idea, like, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but the idea behind it was that he's like, you are every single person ever. The guy talks to this, so this God is talking to this one guy, and he said, "You are every single person ever, and you are Hitler, and you're also every single person that Hitler killed, and you are Gandhi, and you are every single person, every single anything, and you're also that guy that just died." And I mean, I don't know. That was just like so crazy. And it said, like, basically, this is your training to be God. I have no idea the significance of that, but I thought that was a cool story. It's very deep. So yeah, that's nothing makes any religion right or wrong. I think when you kill people, or you negatively if you make any other person's experience worse on this planet in general, then it's not justifiable. The net of it, I should say. Like, if your actions make net worse, like if you have a religion and you kill people, you're making things worse. You're killing people, so that's bad. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, this is fucking me up. That's what I'm trying to be, man. At the end of the day, okay? I've said this before. We're going to end it, guys. All it is just don't. All right? Make sure there's no parents in the room. I'm going to say a bad word, okay? Sorry, parents, but you got to say these things sometimes. Don't be a cunt. That's all you need in life. Just don't be a cunt. Don't negatively influence people. Be a positive influence on the world. And that's all it is, man. That's all you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. That was SmithSquad Podcast 100. We freaking banged that out. 2.5 hours almost. I am so hot. I need to go jump in the ocean and take a sweater, okay? Take a swim. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun to just sit down and talk the inner mechanisms of my mind, just ideas that I have, and just throw out there, guys. So I really hope you guys did enjoy that. I just wanted to make a positive episode on life and motivation in the universe and all that good stuff. And if you're still here, you are an OG fan, and thank you so much for the support, guys. That was SmithSquad Podcast episode 100. This will be up on iTunes a little bit. # don't be a cunt, man. That's all you got to do in life, okay? We just wrapped it up. Boom. Don't be a cunt, okay? Being a cunt is fun? No, because you're making other people's experience on this planet worse. And by making the net experience of this planet worse, you're making your own experience worse. So if you're a cunt, you're making your own experience on this planet worse. So be good, and then you'll improve the world, and then your world will be improved that you live in. It's really simple. That's all it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out here. I got pit stains? No, I don't really sweat that much. But my face, I just look disgusting. I got to work something out, man, because I just can't do this. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming out. I had a really fun time just talking about this. Longest episode by far. I think this was a good episode. It was good to get all these ideas out there for you guys. So this is the interesting thing, though, is that I ran with this for like 2 hours. I feel like the second hour was so much better than the first. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna end it there. Check us out on iTunes and the Android Google Play Store. We need an outro song for these. Okay, we need like an outro song, like gotta throw a outro song here. Okay, I'm just gonna throw I'm just gonna throw our classic song. Let's see if I'm gonna load. Okay, is that too loud? Is that too loud? I think that's okay. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. That was the SmithSquad Podcast. You can find this on iTunes and the Google Play Store. That was the SmithSquad Podcast, episode 100. Here is our ultimate outro that we're gonna do. This is what it is. Check us out, though. Seriously do, please. Check us out on iTunes. If you guys could rate us 5 stars, download the podcast, that supports us. We were actually 17th in the world on iTunes. So, guys, don't be a cunt. Positive vibes. I love you all. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste. Have a beautiful day, guys. And we are going to end it there. Episode 100. Episode 101 is going to be with the Z House next week, hopefully, unless the Easter egg's not solved yet, but it's going to happen. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Peace out.